Yes, it's
Okay.
working.
So where were we at?
We were talking about health.
Health. Health. Who's health? Health. Well, we've already said like 3 for health, right?
Yes, we did.
So let's move on to the. All right. So let's move on to this. War equals sports, because it's through several of them, so there should be several. So who's got a document that works with war equals sports? Or just go ahead.
Document 5,
Okay.
because it talks about how it's like the Olympics are like a war, and you're kind of like comparing yourself to like all the other countries, like how good you are like physically and stuff, and how like strategic you can be.
Right, and that one is pretty clear as well. And to kind of compare it to another document, how would you compare that document to document 11?
They're kind of opposing. One is a means towards, one is a preventative measure.
That's exactly right. Because in document, does everybody see that between document 5 and 11? They're both talking about war, but they're taking, what is it?
It says friendly
Yeah, that's.
instead of. It means to make peace.
Yeah, that's. So with that one's kind of interesting because they both look at war and sports, but through a general perspective.
6-2.
Okay. Yeah.
No, they want to come together like a sports team.
When did it
Team
start?
unify, but they don't fight.
When did it?
Conflict.
Does everybody see that on document 6, the poster?
Hey, yeah. I don't understand what the poster was for.
What, it's a recruitment tool. It's saying that it, and you're right, you said it could come join the game of war. I mean, I think that's the key there. It's making war out to be a.
Romantic idea.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And if you look at the pictures on there, you see like a horse racer, whatever you call it, a jockey, I guess, a car, a boxer, a rower. I mean, these are things that you're probably not going to die in unless you.
Then you see a soldier.
Yeah, exactly right. He's kind of the centerpiece of that. Yeah, that's. And so this one, you could almost say it goes with document. What would we say? 5. Which other one is war and sports? 7. Okay. In what way?
I said document 7 was like one. Oh, because it talks about how when you have war, you have to have your nation backing you up. If you don't have that to bring up your morale, you're going to fail. So it's likewise with your teams going to the Olympics.
Yeah, and when you said the nation backing you up, there's a lot of that in
I think 7 kind of touches on like the morals thing too. Because it talks about how sportsmen growing through sports and growing through life.
Yeah. Any other ones about war?
I said number 4.
Okay.
Because it compares sports to like life's battle.
Yeah.
Kind of like a battle. And it talks about if they can't combine and they can't like fight. So.
Yeah.
Number 1.
Yeah, that one just say it clearly as on the rugby field, so in the battle of life. That's very pretty. You had one as well. Okay.
Rather by defending its own day with strong distress, this new race will create an unbreachable defense on which assaults of our foes will be deterred.
Yeah, and in this one, I'm always curious, like whether they're gonna have like a impromptu basketball match to decide where the international boundaries are. They're kind of vague in there, but yeah, you're exactly right. So we got.
I think he felt that like by becoming sportsmen, that they was like secretly training warriors.
But it's about like
Yeah.
Well, like
gymnastics.
warriors,
too.
well, gymnastics is a hard sport.
I mean, I realize that.
I guess you could train ninjas as gymnasts. They gotta do flips and stuff.
Well, this was before like, I mean, not like the guns hadn't been invented, but this is when war would have been more of a hand-on combat thing,
Well,
which you would need like gymnast type people to do.
but even now, when we have guns and technology, there's still a big focus on training and things. So yeah, you're exactly right. The physical fit and what?
Oh, it's just a physical ability.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Any? Which one do y'all want to do next? I'll let y'all pick.
Women's advancement.
I'm just kidding. Okay. All right. So which ones have to do with
Document 2.
document 2? All right. Okay.
12 and 10.
Okay. Well, let's deal with document 2 first, because there's several kind of ways to, and 12 and 10. Yeah, we'll do those next. There's several different ways to unpack, I guess, document 2. So we'll deal with them. So what's your perspective on?
Well, in document 2, they finally got some representation in 1910. I mean, it took them that long to get some representation.
And
It's funny looking at it from a 2013 perspective where there's not a whole lot of men gymnasts, it's mostly all women.
that's exactly right. And how could this chart be kind of misleading?
The numbers would have been higher, if they would have counted women all along.
That's
Well,
exactly.
They would've
because
been-
they're saying that they just now added women to it, so if they add women to it the whole time, numbers will be jumping up.
And that's the question. We don't know if there actually were women gymnast teams. There might not. Women could have still been gymnasts, but it's unclear here if they even. I mean, it says they were counted.
There could have been such an incline in women that they just had to start counting it, not necessarily like that they weren't doing it for a reason in the first place, just that there weren't a significant amount of women in it.
There also, the years aren't like set in certain increments. So it's not like an even gap of like how much time has passed between each.
I think it's kind of biased because in one, it talks about how they'll do anything to go back to the golden times. And 2 years later, there's charts being started made. So they'll do anything to show that they're growing and getting better.
Yeah. And before I forget, what does document, and we'll call it 10 and 12, what does document 12 say about what you see here? And I know it's different countries, but what does document 12 say about document 2? Support it, weaken it, strengthen it, or?
I think it basically calls document 2 a liar.
Okay, so you have a liar and you say it supports it. So why does it, and I don't want you to fight in the hallway or anything, but why do you say it, why do you say it supports it? Or who said, why do you say it supports it?
Go back to answer her question first.
Okay, so why do you say it calls it a liar?
Cause like,
Because neither one of you are,
cause it's basically, the other one didn't count women at all, and it was just like, this is what men are doing until 1910. And she's talking about being a gymnast in the 1880s, and about how it was a really big deal for girls at the time. So I feel like they should have counted women into that chart, or just left them out completely. By just adding them in the last one, it kind of skews the chart completely.
I think, like, one thing about it says, in many years worked past before we could do our exercises in open air. Many years passed between 1880s and 1910. How we're counting it.
yeah, and I guess with it says in the 1880s, she could have been talking about being a gymnast in the 19 teens. I mean, there's, because she's writing in 1940, she could have been talking about stuff happening 30 years or 50 years in the past. So it really does both of what y'all say. So
By in the open air, though, does she mean like in front of people, or does she mean like, is she still talking about the outfit?
She
God.
says that they're restricted.
in front of people,
That's my.
you took it as,
Like she said that they're still a little bit restricted, even though they're still there.
that's exactly right. Talking about they had to wear these long uniforms and this kind of stuff. If they're telling them how to dress, they're probably going to tell them kind of clothes and stuff.
But then again, there's,
What is it?
it's the time period, like, of course, they're not gonna be able to wear what our gymnasts wear today.
Yeah, like,
But it's better to
they
be
used to sleep. I mean, I'm pretty sure I forgot where those.
I guess they still got used to jazz ribbons though.
What if they made you wear skirts and soccer?
The jazz ribbons.
And the 1920s.
Okay, so we've got I guess the last one we'll talk about with the women's equality and progress would be document 10. So, I mean, it's pretty clear what Alice Peroff is saying. So what's she saying on that document?
That that saying that women are different from men, like saying that it's scientifically proven is ridiculous because there's no difference.
It's pretty crystal clear. Now what would her bias be?
That she
is a woman.
And she's not just a woman, she's a feminist, because not all
And
women would
she's
say
a-
that
she's a-
men and women have the same body.
She's a physician.
They obviously
Yeah,
don't.
like she's gone to school, she's she's gone to school for years.
Yeah, that's right.
She's incredibly intelligent.
And that's one of these I'd like to know more information on her. And it's from the Railroad Exercise and Sports newspaper. I thought that was kind of.
So it was good enough to be published? That doesn't sound like it's big.
But it's
Sounds
not
like
published in a
man's-
scientific magazine, it's published in a sports magazine.
I think that's a man's magazine. I mean, women don't look at railroads.
Yeah, and maybe it's because, it does say recent observations, so maybe this recent, I don't know, might be key. But any other one to talk about? Now, also when you talk about women's and all these kind of things, also look at what it says about men. It's saying some clear things about men too throughout, but the women's